What's up, guys? You are currently down on the ground down there. This is going to be my attempt at some sort of long form content. I'm not really going to edit this heavily, or maybe even at all. You are currently down on the ground. I'm up at my treehouse that me and my family built. I can't lie, I didn't have a whole lot to do with this. We built this when I was really young, but my dad had a lot to do with this. So you're way down there, and I just wanted to talk to you about, I don't know, some things that are on my mind. Well, not some things, one thing in particular. So I'm going to be smoking a backwood. This is just a backwood. That's right, I've been smoking backwoods with my dad for a long time. This is just a backwood. There's nothing rolled inside here. So if you smoke, grab something to smoke and smoke along with me. I got a LaCroix somewhere. Hold on. A LaCroix, what's the flavor? Hold on here. It's Pardon Palouse. I don't know why they have to name their flavors so weird. But yeah, that's what I'm drinking. That's what I'm smoking. So until I crush this thing, I'll be yapping about something or other. And yeah, smoke along and drink with me, and you can just hear some random dude on the internet that you kind of follow yap. Beautiful Saturday. I think it's about, got the tobacco in my mouth. I think it's 4:37. And today, I want to talk to you about this kind of video right here, if you can see.
A nice, clean release.
You know, I find it interesting. Animal cruelty in recent years has really been taking the knock on the old social media. You know, if you post a video of a deer getting hit or a possum getting hit or something like that, you would be hard-pressed to find comments that weren't like, you know, like, this is horrible, this is animal abuse, this is animal cruelty, why even post this? When people abuse fish, when they catch them though, when they're fishing, there doesn't seem to be that same energy. You'll see a couple for sure. But something that I'm finding really interesting about this whole thing that's been on my mind is that fish seem to be the only animal that you can still abuse, and like no one seems to say anything about it. And that to me is like super interesting. Why? And that's what I want to break down today, is why. And then what causes that? How do we treat it? Because I think it's an ailment. I think anytime that you abuse an animal, I think it says something about who you are as a person. And I'll tell you some anecdotal stories of people that I know. But first things first, I want to say I'm not against fishing. I've been a fisherman my whole life. I've been fishing since, like, literally before I can remember. Just pictures of me catching fish when I don't even remember catching them. And, you know, I honestly feel blessed and lucky to grow up with that experience. And know that it gave me a love for fish and gave me a love for animals. And I grew up with good parents that showed me, like, hey, that's how you release your fish. You release your fish with dignity and care. And you definitely don't chuck them or dive bomb them into the water. What causes this, and why is it just fish? That is something that I actually don't know that I can tackle. I don't know why fish are unique. I think it's maybe because they're some of the most removed species from us. We don't have almost any similarities with fish. You know, they breathe water, we breathe air. They live underwater, we live on the land. It's just a whole different world to us. And, you know, obviously, fish keeping guy, you'd picture me to be on my sob story about killing fish. Actually, not at all. Not at all. I'm okay if you're a fisherman. I just take issue with treating God's creatures like trash. I think it's a uniquely human thing. Hold on. I think it's a uniquely human thing to see something that's smaller than you and less powerful than you and be like, I'm going to kill you. Which reminds me of these guys that I went to high school with. And I want to be really sensitive about how I go about doing this, because I don't think that anybody's beyond changing. And I think that those guys, while they definitely still serve as a, as a founding memory for me of like being able to establish like, okay, these are people that I don't want to be like ever. They're not beyond changing. And I'm going to mention later on how they are, and you'll see. But okay, I'm kind of just yapping without yapping. Let's get to it. I live in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles in the summer months, it gets pretty warm, and we have an abundance of reptile life. And specifically in our area, they're called garden fence post lizards or blue belly lizards. They're adorable. They're super cute. And in my high school, there used to be some guys that would, on our quad, it was called our quad, and it was the AstroTurf, there would be tons and tons of lizards that would bask in the sun, trying to get the rays in the warming months, so spring and then late fall, early spring, and then into summer. These guys would go around and they'd try to catch and smash these lizards. They would very rarely catch these lizards because the lizards are quick and have been evading predators for, thousands of years. But when they would catch one or smash one, they try and stomp on it. When they would, it was like this tribal, whoa! They would be so excited. And I thought that was so gross. They would smash it into the ground, smear it, and it would smell. Over a couple days, no one would clean it up, and it would smell. And honestly, it always kind of made me sick to my stomach. And I never once stopped them from doing it or tried to stop them from doing it. I was a pretty unconfrontational kid. Super annoying and disrespectful and weird in my own way, because you're a 15-year-old boy. But definitely not with this abuse towards wildlife. I definitely never had that feature. But I think what's super interesting, and this is something that I've been thinking about, is that kind of abuse towards animals, that kind of just killing, just murdering just to murder, while it's uniquely human, it's also something that if they did it alone, just alone, and then other people found out that they were doing it alone, running after, chasing and stomping lizards and smashing them into a fine paste, if someone found out that they were doing that alone, they'd be like, that's a freak. They'd be like, that's a freaky person, that's a creepy future serial killer. But when it's in a group setting, it's still weird, but less taboo. It's more okay. It's like, boys being boys. What the heck? What the heck? Serial killer behavior is only okay in groups? That is something that I think that is going to be the core, the body of what I'm going to talk about today. And I think why social media can pose such a dangerous place for harmful creators of on social media, you can find anybody that's going to be your group. You can find anybody that's going to agree with you. You can find anybody that's going to, agree with your points and agree with your behavior. And you're smashing lizards, or you're hitting deers with your car, or in this case, you're throwing fish back and chucking them and killing them for no reason. You caught it and you killed it just because you can. You're going to find your group. You're going to find your group regardless of who it is. And it builds up, it affirms you. It gives you this validation of okay, I can do this. I like doing this. I get the positive dopamine rush of people saying oh, this is funny. And I think that is a super, super dangerous component of social media that kind of expands or not expands. You can witness that in a lot of different areas of life that's not just on this narrow, this microscopic view of just animal abuse. Whether that be the glorification of drugs or the glorification of objecting women or, the pursuit of riches, which is I'm kind of just hitting all of the deadly sins right now, right? That's kind of stupid, but anything is, I have some neighbors walking past and they're watching me film myself. This is a little awkward. Yikes. They see me talking to my camera. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Take this opportunity there's also so many of them. I wish I could pan the camera over to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people on a walk together. I'm embarrassed. Now I forgot where I was. I was hitting the deadly sins, but I'm just saying you can find a destructive group of people that are going to cheer you on to your demise. And so those guys, let's go back to those guys, right? That group of guys that normally that's psychological, psychopathic behavior or whatever, you were just smashing lizards into a fine paste. Typically that's crazy, but no, for these guys, it's totally okay. All of them. And this is where I wanted to be careful. I started this with saying I want to be careful because everybody is subject to change. Everybody can change. And you know what? I should pray for them. I honestly should pray for them to change and be better. But I can say this with 100%. Went in and checked up all on their Instagrams. And Instagram is fake. I'm just saying that. But it's a decent metric. It's a decent measurable data set to see how this person is actually doing. Drugs, partying, no education after high school, no long-term relationship. All of them. talking 100%, like all of them. And drugs, alcohol, no long-term relationship, and no education after high school aren't indicators of failures, aren't indicators of losers, but I think it's a pretty good, what's the word, litmus test it's a pretty good test to see, like, what's this person up to? If you're somebody who didn't go to high school and you didn't go to college and you're grinding your butt off, doing what you need to do, that's totally fine. I know a bunch of people who didn't go to college and they're well off and they do a great job. My dad is one of them. I'm talking about the stereotypical dude who stayed in his hometown, didn't go to college, and works at like the liquor store. That's what I'm talking about. And that's kind of what these guys are. It's just interesting because my high school didn't breed a lot of those guys. But what are the chances that this is a group of like 6 of them, all were the lizard smashing type? Just the gateway, the lizard smashing gateway, the animal abuse gateway seems to be like this, they're probably going to be losers. I think that's an interesting concept to ponder, because you're told your whole life, you are who you surround yourself with. Choose your friends wisely because they're going to be you. Sure. I have a lot of friends that I'm nothing like, Do I? That's a lie. No, I resemble my friends actually quite a bit. And I'm proud to resemble my friends. I think that's the thing. I think I'm proud to resemble my friends, and I think I just said that without really thinking about what I was saying. Yeah, I resemble all of my friends. And I've actually taken careful time to like, here comes my mailman. I want to see if I can get him to say what's up. Uh-oh, you caught me. I'm filming something. Hey, thank you, man. You too. It's gonna be so funny. You're gonna go home and be like, dude, there's this weird guy in a treehouse talking to his camera. Have a great day, man. Where was I? I actually forget. Something about the lizard smashers. Yikes. You know how embarrassing this is for me. Man, in some ways I'm a loser. I'm a dude just sitting here talking to a camera in my treehouse where I grew up. Hometown hero. Kidding. I'm actually very successful. I'm kidding. That sounded really, really horrible. It's a really subtle flex, though. Small. Itsy bitsy. You don't get that a lot from me. What was I going to say? Anyway, just those guys, you are who you surround yourself with, and that's absolutely true. But for those guys in particular, like, what can be done to change those guys as we're getting to the end of this? What can be done with this, like, kind of animal cruelty, just weird, like, offshoot members of society that end up just affecting society so poorly? What can be done with those people? I used to have a much more positive outlook on that. I used to be like, people are really able to change, and I still try to hold on to that. But, man, as I'm growing, once people kind of show you their true colors, it's kind of it. I'm not saying the writing's on the wall. I've seen some pretty miraculous changes from people around me. But for those guys, I don't know that, like, all was not lost for them right now. But, man, it would have been better if somebody would have came alongside them when they were younger, or if somebody older, maybe that they would have looked up to and have been like, hey, like, off a LaCroix like that, to burp like that is crazy. So sorry. Somebody that they would have looked up to, somebody that they could have modeled after, and would have been like, hey man, that's like really freaking weird. Like, and to just kill things just to kill them is so horrible and so uniquely human. Like, it's like, other animals will kill for sport for sure, but like, just to smash things that are smaller than you just because, strange. That's a strange thing to do. But if somebody would have like came alongside them, an older brother, some of them had older brothers, and would have been like, hey, like, this is troubling. Like the way that you're living your life, this, like, do anything you can do to get your friends to laugh. Something has to change for them. And, I think that is maybe a lesson that I'm learning, and something that I go to a men's group on Wednesday nights, and that was something that a guy kind of said to me, was like, you know, you like to talk a lot and you like to talk to people around you, but you don't do anything to like kind of like raise up the people under you. And I got a whole bunch of like younger cousins that I think I could be a way better example for, and just younger guys in my life that I could like, you know, man, on camera I'm pretty family friendly, you know, not to get like religious on you, but I'm a Christian, and as I'm discovering God more and more, I am trying to follow the ideals of Jesus. And but like I'm a mess. Like I you know, I cuss all the time. I say vulgar things that I shouldn't say, and I'm really working on that. You know, I really am trying to grow and change from that. But just like stuff like that, like being a bad example, like when you're in a group setting with a bunch of guys, like don't let it get too rowdy. Don't let it get to a place where you're like, okay, I'm not comfortable with like giving this to you anymore. I'm not comfortable with like being weird with you anymore. I need to set up a boundary, or I need to set up a boundary for myself and say like, hey, that's not gonna fly. Like right now, that won't fly. And I just think of like one of their older brothers is like, hey, dude, that's freaking weird. Like stop doing that. Like, I love you, but that's like so strange, and it's gonna, you know, abusing animals and doing everything you can to get your friends to laugh is like, it's gonna set you up to just be constantly looking for that dopamine, and the things that don't bring you that, you're not gonna have the discipline to see other things through. Really, really cool. I'm watching as the sun is setting on my camera right now. This is really, it's pretty cool. But I think maybe that's the lesson, is like community is great, but there needs to be a community that's structured around like good people of character. Just finding community in general, I think that's where maybe people get messed up on, is like finding community of people that just align with you and don't challenge you in any way. That's rough. That's weird. You should find a community of people that challenge you, and a group of people that are going to say, hey, stop doing what you're doing, it stinks. And I have that, which I'm really blessed. Like, and speaking on that, like no power from me. I didn't do anything to bring these people into my life. I really truly do believe that God brought certain select people into my life to like teach me a lesson. Like, hey Dylan, stop being a freaking weirdo. Stop sucking. Grow up and be better. You know, my parents are a perfect example of that. Like, I hit the parental lottery. You know, a lot of my friends, I just hit the lottery on. I had none of my own power. Nothing. I didn't do anything to deserve these friends. And just God blessed me with them. And I wish I could go back and just have maybe conversations with those dudes. I wonder why this like abusing fish is so commonplace. Like why we can't, well, I've kind of gone all over the place. But like why that's like on social media, that's the only kind of animal abuse where people are like, whatever, it's a fish. So weird to me, huh? I'm wrapping up here. You guys want me to chug this for you? A LaCroix? No, that's too corny. That's too corny. I can't do that. I'll be burping and farting all night. You guys don't want to see that. Oh, and the sun just set over the camera. I'm sure that would have been a cool shot. I'm trying to see. What else? So yeah, I'm going to be doing these every now and then. I'm probably going to get better at them. Honestly, I'm doing this to get better at long form, so it's not really for anybody else. I'm not necessarily expecting to get a whole bunch of views. I'm just doing this so that I can get better at talking to a camera. You know, I'm super blessed. I'm super blessed. I love posting on Critic Commander, and I like the way that you guys talk to each other in the comments and help each other out. I think that's super cool. I'm just rambling now to fill up the time, and I think that when you start doing that, it kind of means your brain is fried. Maybe my brain is fried a little bit. But anyway, if you see people doing weird things, the point of this video, if you see people doing weird things, you're like, I don't know if that's in their best interest. Call them out, and then be okay when other people call you out. So, I wonder if people are going to be like, oh, this is so sacrilegious of you to be talking about God while smoking a cigarello.
Guess what? I don't care. You know? I don't care. I don't give two. I'm not gonna say that because I'm trying to be a better person. Poison, right? Anyway.
Fire. Alright, now you guys are probably tired. This is probably a waste of your time. Anyway, Mr. Critic Commander signing off. Actually, I'm going to hop down there and you're going to see how high up you were. Ooh, or will you see too much of my house and then know where I live? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. LA, treehouse. Man, we're getting too close. You guys are going to dox me. Alright, deuces.
always put out whatever you're smoking. Always.